Superman, Xenu, and your origins. If you're here, you're meant to hear this message. We opened a portal live on TikTok called the Looking Glass. This is an alchemical technique of opening our subconscious mind, talking to spirit, deceased loved ones through symbology, numerology, geometry, astronomy, and gematria. In this piece, we're going to begin at 7 o'clock, and it's a very, very important message for Tracy and for the collective consciousness, and that is that our origins is the story of Superman. If we look at 7 o'clock, there is a baby, and her parents are birds, and these bird people with the letter X on a piece of paper reflects that one dimension or reality was being destroyed. And so in order to save your soul, save who you were sent through a portal, which is a mother goose, and taken to a world with a hole in it, as if you live inside a world, not outside. And these bird people are drawn on stone and written about in history, and Toth and many bird people that look kind of like the Anunnaki, I guess reflect our origins. And it's pretty significant when we think about being half bird, half human. And we're going to talk about Xenu now, because you have the letter Z in your piece, very big, and Xenu has something to do with souls being sent to this prison planet. So in Scientology, they say that because of overpopulation, or maybe because of imperfect souls, maybe murderers and a bunch of jerks, were sent to a prison planet known as this Earth. And our memories were erased, and we were put under programs, and we were given implants. And they say that our souls were frozen. And I've had personal experiences where I've awoken up and I was frozen and couldn't move or see or hear. So our souls were frozen, and we were put into a simulation. And this simulation is like a matrix. And this matrix was given programs that would make us sustain in these programs without fighting or without pushing back and without remembering who we were. So Xenu is connected to the Roman Catholic Church and the crucifixion, and they say that the implant station is in Hawaii. So these implant stations are places to put programs inside of us and make us and believe that we are separated, we are male, we are female, we are Christian, we are Muslim, we are this, we are that, and none of it is really true. We don't know who we are, therefore we never awaken to our true origin or power. So according to Scientologists, these implants are what need to be removed from us in order to awaken, basically. And knowledge is power, and so ignorance is weakness. And if ignorance is death, then knowledge is coming to life and waking up to who we are. So the story of Superman really goes back to Xenu. And Xenu, worlds being destroyed, and a soul, the parents wanting to save their child's soul and putting them in a little time capsule, or even what looks like a simulation, in order to preserve them, and because that child is loved. And so you're being shown that you were loved and you were sent here, and you were birthed by, of course, a mother. And you can see the letter Z right in front of you for Xenu. But since you're not really from here, you are being shown that your soul requires something that is different than normal, quote-unquote, humans, and that is your diet and food. So getting into and understanding the Xenu is something that I want you to study, because it's something I've been reading about for a long time. And when an alien was captured by the CIA, this alien told someone telepathically that we are in a prison planet and there is no escape, and that we were sent here because we were murderers. We were mentally ill. But according to your piece, you were a baby looking to be saved. So even South Park and different television shows show souls being stuck in a cage, in a box, being frozen. And in this frozen state, we're in a simulation. And so this is the box, the letter Y. And when you really start digging the symbologies, you're like, what? Yahweh, Yeshua, starting with the letter Y, and the black box of Saturn, and why the Catholic Church wears black all the time. So the Scientologists believe that the body thetans came about 75 million of years ago through a catastrophe, and the galactic dictator named Xenu basically was the one who integrated this prison planet. So these body thetans are responsible for mental and physical ailments. So they're basically demons. They're the jinn, and they get in us and on us. And if we don't remove them, they make us sick, and they make us asleep, and they make us ignorant, and all of that. There's an article that says how I found Scientology and became superhuman, like Superman. But I think that Scientology and all of these religions kind of remove the Holy Dove, the Holy Spirit, from the aspect, because when we balance the good and darkness within us, the male and female, we realize that we were cut from spirit. We were cut from our divinity. We were cut from our wings. In time, we will find a path to truth. We can't control it and force it. It comes to us in divine timing. This is something called the Knots, and they are about ridding a person of space aliens murdered by the evil Lord Xenu. The souls of these poor unfortunates that were murdered 75 million years ago need to be given standard Scientology processing in order to release them from a prison. So this time capsule, this prison, this frozen state in Superman is possibly a very advanced simulation. So it's kind of like Avatar. Our consciousness is bounced, and we were birthed, and we are stuck in a body, and we're not really the body. We're actually somewhere else. And so it's advanced technology. And according to your piece, with the hole in the side of the planet, it's as if we live inside a planet, a realm at least, and it's like inside of an egg. Let's talk about the pan. You have the pan right in front of you. Now, many people will tell you that the pan is evil and a jerk and reflects a demon, or maybe these thetans, or maybe the jinn. But let's talk about Peter Pan and Wendy. Wind is the air that goes into a pipe, and the pan is the flute. So the flute needs wind to be alive and to fly and to awaken. So the Peter Pan that says, come on, Wendy, let's fly, is going back to your original state of being that bird. Many religious people think that the pan is the devil, with the pandemic, pandemonium, and panic. But it is, but it isn't. So this is really how it works. When God starts to become alive within you, which was once dead, this holy dove will come and start waking you up, and you'll have to fight an energy. And fighting these energies is like killing the 7 Horcruxes or opening 7 holes in a flute. And it's painful. It's the 7 wounds of Christ. This is why you were sent to the realm of 7 and had to learn to merge to the number 8 to escape eternal life. So anyway, going through the 7 wounds of Christ, or the 7 holes in the flute, is opening your 7 chakras, which is not easy. It's very, very painful. And so if you can open that flute of the pan, you become an empty vessel, and the truth can flow through you, and you can awaken. And this awakening is a pathway. So I'm going to ask anyone watching today to get into allegories and alchemical symbolism, because this goat is male and female, and it has the pan on him, and the moon and the sun, and the X and the wings. And so this is all speaking that we were androgynous. We were both male and female. This is why Christ's mother self-impregnated. This androgynous energy comes from the moon. We were born in sin. The god of the moon was named Sin, and the androgynous ones were born in the moon. They had 6 fingers and 6 toes, and it is reflective of the number 12. The pan is connected to Osiris, and I've spoken before in my lives that Osiris is the land of Oz and the goddess Iris of the rainbow. Oz and the rainbow is the land of Oz. It's a parallel reality, and you can bounce there and get there if you raise your frequency and you awaken through the invisible dove and the invisible spirit guide that comes to us when we're ready. You can't force it. You can't go into a religious group and try to force it. So now you understand the story of Maleficent. She looks like a pan. She's a bird. She had power. Her wings were cut, just like us. We were cut. The holy dove was cut from us, and we suffered, and we have to get our wings back. And we were powerful. And we must have been a murderer like Maleficent who cursed a baby. And so there we go back to your piece being a baby again. And so that's the story. At 5 o'clock, you have the peacock above your head. This is you in your original state. Androgynous, powerful, full of glory, freedom, dignity, love. The peacock is a gift from the gods, and they are seen as sacred and special. It was the original phoenix. It's about dying and rebirthing. It's about the all-seeing eye. It's about becoming all-knowing and the collective consciousness with all of the eyes on the peacock feather. But it also reflects royalty. So you being royal with the bird energy like Maleficent is something that you're going to have to diligently awaken to. And Spirit is telling you that the reason you're not awakening is because of food. Now, they say that coffee is makes you anxious and it increases your heart rate. And there's a story of this guy who said that he began meditating in Epsom salt, and he realized, and he was hearing the voices of dimensional beings, and he started to have many, many inner visions, but then he realized that every time he would drink coffee, he couldn't meditate correctly. He couldn't see the truth. So it seems as if coffee is keeping us from the truth, but I'm going to go take it a little step further, and that is that coffee is acidic. There is a correlation to the connection between acidity and mental illness, or having psychological issues like anger, depression, bipolar disorder. And often when we drink coffee, we're dehydrated. So dehydration and coffee and having a low pH or an acidic pH is connected to mental problems, but it's also spiritually connected to it not having power. So your heart emits an electromagnetic energy, the sun emits an electromagnetic energy, and we emit negative ions, and we are very special operating bodies if we feed our holy temple holy food. And since you're not from here, you need to realize that coffee is not holy. It makes you acidic. All right, and it makes you dehydrated. And those two elements, dehydration and acidity, are absolutely the foundation of power. So you are 75% water. The water that you put in your body is either dead or alive. So the link between spiritual, mental, and physical health is water, hydration, and pH. You need to focus on eating alkali. I suggest for you personally eating a lot of watermelon and upgrading your water intake and just drinking tea or maybe some hot chocolate with honey, but not sugar. Since you're 75% water and water changes as you speak to it or as it is affected by sound or frequency, you are a time shifter and you are a multidimensional being. So understanding how special you are, just because you are mostly water, you have to study water. And what does water do when it is introduced to music or sound or thought even? So you have the Freya energy, the two cats. You have the wild boar. Freya on the wild boar is surprising luck. Freya and Freya are generous with their gifts, and they let drop something unexpected in your lap. It's linked to the piggy bank. It's linked to money. And notice that in your piece, this boar, this wild boar, is holding your crown. And right now you are being dumped water over your head. This is literal, drinking more water. This is metaphorical, getting downloads from water as water holds memory. And you are holding the letter IF in your hand. This is intermittent fasting. It is also solar flux, solar energy. There's something about our awakening to truth and the sun, the second coming of the sun within you. And this is about opening all of your chakras like the pan within you and speaking the voice of God, walking the voice of God. Your grandmother was pivotal in helping you and saving you from what seems to be a possible health issues. And you're walking on water and you're going over the rainbow like the land of Oz. And so your grandmother is telling you that you got many of your attributes from her, and she's letting you know that you're not from here. You were born to a mother and a father and a grandmother and a grandfather, but they're not really your true soul family. And so understanding that will really help you. The owl on the right reflects the moon. The lion on the left reflects the sun. And you are balancing the moon and the sun. This means that you are going from ignorance to an awakening. And it's up to you to obey that higher voice in order for that boar, that wild boar, to crown you with the golden corona crown of awakening, enlightenment, and going from manhood to godhood, and remembering who you really are, male and female, light and dark, moon and sun. You left the age of Pisces and you're going to the age of Aquarius, and the second coming of the sun, Sirius B, the dog star, at 11 o'clock is coming to you. You also have the blazing star and Jacob's ladder of the keys of Solomon. If we begin at the owl at 1 o'clock, the owl is wisdom and the moon, and the owl says eat. And then there's like a magical square and a prison. What we eat puts us in a prison. And then we move to you're at 12 o'clock and there's a snake in front of you, and this snake says eat, and it's cutting you in half. This means that what we eat is cutting us from our divinity. And so understanding that you are meant to be a psychic, an oracle, you are meant to have power of frequency. You're like Maleficent. You just don't remember who you are. You are a Christ energy that walks on water, which is what you're doing. But we cannot even remember who we were if we are inundating our body that takes our power and takes our memory. So, changing and rebirthing ourselves is more than just thought and emotion and belief. It's food. If God is for you, who can be against you? It's food. Food can be against our spirit, our awakening, and our divinity. You are at 12 o'clock. This means that you are ready to leave the realm of 12 to become powerful. It's time to stand up and be diligent in all of your efforts.